Well, thank you very much. On the issue of people leaving our party, especially the the bigwigs, as you call them, His Excellency Peter Obi and Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. Yes, of course, it came to us a little bit as a surprise, but I think we've moved on from that. It was a glitch, and not the any kind of glitch, I must say. But we moved on from that, we restabilized, and we're moving forward, because the objective is the same. How do we stop the steady deterioration of governance in our country, and how do we strengthen multi-party democracy in our country? So they've moved on to another party. We are in ADC, but like you alluded to, the vision of building a big coalition of opposition political party is still a possibility within the dynamics that we are presented with, because we are convinced that a unified opposition stands a better chance of challenging for power, especially when faced with the kind of incumbency that we are faced with. So that is that. On the particular comment made by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, I would not want to address that specifically.
But do you think a fractured coalition is a setback for the ADC?
Not a setback for the ADC in particular, but a setback for the opposition coalition, the kind of coalition we're trying to build, not specifically the ADC, because once you have a 3 or 4 horse races against the incumbent, it's always an advantage to the incumbent. So, but like I said, it may have been a setback, but it's not a fatal blow to the work that we're trying to do, because the objective, like I said, remains the same, and we are not wavering on that. But ultimately, our hope, our expectation is that we will all still be able to find a way to work together. When we left Ibadan a couple of weeks ago, we said we're going to present a common presidential candidate, a single presidential candidate against the ruling party. Conversation is still possible in that direction, because the objective, if we are all committed to the same thing, if we all believe that genuinely that this is why we are doing what we are doing, which is to stem the steady deterioration of the quality of life that we are seeing and the misgovernance of the ruling party, then it's still possible for us to reach across and have that conversation. Then on the issue of zoning, for us in the African Democratic Congress, it's not about whether it's is the principal thing to do. Of course, the question is not whether, as a matter of principle, we agree with it or not. As a matter of principle, when you talk about equity, justice, fairness, balance, ADC aligns with that. But we find ourselves in a peculiar situation where an opposition party, and the decision we are going to take is going to be strategic rather than trying to be politically correct at this time. We are going to evaluate the field and look at our options and look at what gives us strategic advantage and strategic opportunity to really challenge for power. So we are not commenting on the principle of it, but we are looking at it from the strategic point of view. What should we be doing if you have 2, 3 people or aspirants or contestants from one part of the country?
They come. We've done our due diligence. We are prepared for them. And if there is justice, we know we will prevail.
All right, Mr. Kalabia, let me ask you a straight question. So we don't have time. The election in general, you have just about a few days to submit membership. That's NDC now, because you just joined, so I'm sure your name will be listed. That will be submitted to INEC in the next maybe 4 or 5 days to INEC. What is the position of NDC in terms of the presidential election? Is there going to be zoning? That's one question. Number 2, is it going to be by consensus or primary? Because you don't have the luxury of time.
Well, I don't know whether you're saying election. I'm talking about primaries.
That's what I'm saying.
That's our major issue now before us. Primaries. The NDC will submit its register either on the 5th or on the 6th of this month. That is either tomorrow, Tuesday, or on Wednesday. So once we do that, we are good to go, and we will have zoned the party's presidential candidature to the south. No mincing words. We've zoned it to the south. Therefore, whoever from the south, if Jeff wants to run, please go and register quickly today or tomorrow. Such that your name gets into the register.
I'm not interested. Like you're the 3rd or 4th politician dragging me into politics. I'm a journalist. I like my job. My job is to check the politicians. I'm not interested. But let me also ask you, Mr. I'm going to come back to this question within the time we have. Isn't it, what is going on with the opposition? Isn't it playing into the hands of the ruling party? Because I'll tell you the highlights since 1999. There are several highlights politically. One of the highlights of 1999 till today is that in 2007 or so, PDP had about 28 governors. So whatever the APC is doing today, just imagine higher than what the PDP is doing in terms of governors. In 2015, it took a merger to unseat an incumbent like Goodluck Jonathan. And in 2023, we saw the first time a man without structure was able to cause an upset to get 6.1 million votes. Where am I going to with all of this? The only model available to unseat a ruling party, if that is possible, is not by a divided, broken house into pieces like what happened in 2023. Now it looks like with the movement of Kwankwaso and Peter Obi leaving Atiku in the ADC is clearly Uhuru for President Bola Tinubu. Are you looking at it that way?
Well, not quite. The truth of the matter is that all of us, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, all of them migrated into the ADC such that they bring a unity of the opposition forces within the ADC to enable them without much problem unseat Tinubu. Unfortunately, there are this insinuation that the APC and the government, in fact, by extension, Tinubu, used the courts to scuttle the opposition. This is why I am making this call on Vice President Atiku Abubakar to follow us as we followed him into the ADC, such that there will be a unity of the opposition to unseat this government. And if he refuses, then whatever happens to the opposition, Vice President Atiku will be held responsible.
I didn't get that clearly in just a moment, but in closing,
you just wanted clarity. The clarity is that all the political gladiators are now in the ADC. And if anybody is outside, as Kwankwaso was outside in the ADC and he was persuaded to come in. So we are also pleading with Vice President Atiku Abubakar to come into the NDC such that we can consolidate again and remove the incumbent government. That is what I'm saying.
Mr.
And if he refuses to that, hold on now. And if he refuses to do that, then the ball is in his court, because he has now scuttled the unity of the opposition to unseat this government, because he cannot continue beyond tomorrow to be in the ADC, or else he has agreed now to forfeit his right to contest in this election in 2027.